For more, I want to bring in retired General and former Supreme Allied Commander Wesley Clark. And Ali Vaez is the Iran Project Director for the International Crisis Group. Thank you both for being with me. Ali, I want to start with you. What do you make of the fact this is just a preliminary assessment from the Defense Department that the U.S. strike only set back Iran's nuclear program by a few months? It's important to note that the DIA is the most conservative of the U.S. intelligence agencies. There are many more. We've yet to hear their assessments, although the CIA said the damage was considerable.
It's good to be with you. Look, as you said, I think it's too early to judge. The key factor here would be to have people on the ground who can go into these facilities and see exactly what has happened, because there's so much that we can learn from satellite imagery and signal intelligence. At the end of the day, we either have to have boots on the ground or inspectors on the ground who can go into these bunker facilities, see the extent of damage, and account for the nuclear material which is now missing. Iran still has 400 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%, which is near bombs grade, and probably hundreds of advanced centrifuges that it had stocked separately. And that provides it with a pathway to dash towards a nuclear weapon. And that's why it is important to get an accurate assessment and eventually get the inspectors on the ground to fully understand what has happened.
General Clark, the DIA report is based on satellite imagery. As Ali just pointed out, nobody's been on the ground yet in Iran. I don't even think Israel's managed to get to do that. How often do these preliminary intelligence reports change?
Well, they would change if you could get people on the ground. And, you know, the first reports are usually wrong on anything, Elizabeth. And so in this case, as Alex said, the big issue is, you know, read the words, severely damaged the program. Didn't say they got all the highly enriched uranium. Didn't say they couldn't build a nuclear device. Didn't say a lot of things that are in danger. What we have, afraid, is a wounded tiger here. We don't know if it's going to turn on us or not, but there seems to be a lot of highly enriched uranium that's missing.
General, if the assessment proves accurate, it doesn't mean there was anything wrong with the execution of Midnight Hammer. It just might mean that Fordo is deeper and more protected than we thought. If by all accounts, the pilots, the crews, everybody involved with Operation Midnight Hammer executed flawlessly.
Oh, I think it was a brilliant operation, brilliant in conception, obviously flawless in execution. The commanders on down get a lot of credit for this. Not just the pilots, but they put everything together, the jamming, the escort, the refueling, the fighters that went with it, everything, and the Navy submariners who participated in this. Yeah, it's not the military. We just need to know where we're going from here, Elizabeth.
Ali, Iran's parliament has now approved a motion to stop cooperating with the IAEA. The vote was 221 in favor, 0 against. Is this a sign Iran is about to just become the next North Korea and do this all in secret, kick all the inspectors out?
Well, it is possible. First of all, they are afraid that if they let the inspectors go in, we would actually have answers to some of these questions that we are now debating.
Yeah, where's the uranium?
Exactly. And if indeed they have been able to move the uranium out of those facilities before the strikes, because we have satellite imagery that actually shows that there were some trucks in front of the Fordo facility just a few hours before the strike. If indeed we figure out through the inspectors where the facilities are, they might open themselves up to another attack. But it is also, I think, a negotiating strategy, because their physical leverage, which was their nuclear program on the ground, has been now degraded as a result of U.S. and Israeli strikes. So they're trying to generate political leverage in order to, when they're going back to the negotiating table next week, be able to still extract concessions from the U.S.
General, President Trump said today in his press conference that, quote, "I don't care if I have an agreement or not with Iran," and that he didn't think it was necessary, even though we are reportedly going to, people from the U.S. will meet with the Iranians next week. We have Iran on the ropes right now. Why wouldn't we insist that they sign a deal and insist that they continue to allow inspectors in to verify it?
I think this is just what Ali said. This is also a negotiating posture. I mean, what you want to do is say, I'm not interested in it. Now, if you want to sign it, that's a good thing. But it's not that important to us. And then go after it rather than say, oh, you must sign this because, we're playing off against Iran. It's leverage. But I do think the actual ground truth on this is we need an agreement, not only on the nuclear piece, but wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get this regime to simply renounce the end of a 44-year effort to try to destroy another country in the region? We do have the leverage to demand that if we wanted to do that.
And Ali, that ceasefire, it's still holding.
Yes, but it's very fragile because, I do understand why the president said what he said, but at the end of the day, the problem is not resolved. As U.S. intelligence community had said for many years now, we can only set back Iran's nuclear program, but they have the expertise and the knowledge to reconstitute it. And even, 14 nuclear scientists is really not much. If you look at the Isfahan facility, it had 3,000 people working there. Yeah. So the expertise and the know-how is there, and the path for reviving the nuclear program is there. That's why we need a diplomatic solution to basically consolidate our gains through pursuing the military option.
Well, stay tuned. Things are moving fast over there. Who knows what we'll come up with by this time next week. General Wesley Clark, Ali Vaez, thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here.
Perfect.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.